Hi everyone. Today we are going to discuss about authorization in Blazor WebAssembly application. So let's dive into creating a sample Blazor assembly application. So that is my command, .NET CLI command to create the Blazor WebAssembly template. Okay, our project has been successfully created. Let's open it. So here for development, I am using Visual Studio Code Editor. If you have Visual Studio 2019, you can use it because 2019 latest version only can able to build the .NET 5 application. Here I have created Blazor application with the target framework like .NET 5, and you can see here it is a Blazor web assembly application. Okay, so to Visual Studio users, please make sure to have the 2019 latest version. Okay, latest version more than 16.8 point something. Later on, it is able to build the .NET 5 application. So before going any further, I want to mention that this entire session has been made as blog. Link will be available in the description under the video. If you like, you can go through the blog as well. And now we are going to implement some sample code how we can authorize our Blazor WebAssembly application. So for authorization, what is authorization? Authorization is like a permission to access the particular resource. This authorization comes into the picture once the user is authenticated. Means authorization applies when you is for already logged in users. Authorizations help to restrict the non-authenticated as well authenticated users also based on their roles and restrictions. Got it? Authorization can block both the users, authenticated and non-authenticated also. For authenticated users, it will check the roles and claims and some other custom logic where we can implement to protect our pages by accessing from the users. So from this we can understand that before going authorization, we should have authentication. So here I am going to do some fake authentication or test mock authentication. If you want complete authentication course, I have written two blogs like how to work with JWT access token as well as the refresh token in Blazor WebAssembly application. The links will be available under the video description. If you want, you can go through them for complete guidance for the JWT authentication in Blazor WebAssembly. For this demo, I want to make it simple, so I am going to use the fake authentication. Okay. So before going any further, to integrate authentication into our Blazor WebAssembly, we need to install a one NuGet package like component WebAssembly authentication. So Microsoft ASP.NET Core .components.webassembly WebAssembly.authentication. This is the plugin we need to install. By default, it won't come with the created template of the Blazor WebAssembly application. So if you are using Visual Studio 2019, please copy the command from package manager. So let's copy this CLI command and paste into my terminal. So you can observe Microsoft ASP.NET Core components.webassembly.authentication library has been installed into our sample application. Okay, so the required NuGet has been installed for authentication. Now what we have to do, we need to do some fake authentication. For that, I am going to create one folder. Inside of it, I am going to create a class like custom auth state provider .cs. As custom state provider. Uh, it is authentication state provider. See, this comes from Microsoft ASP.NET Core Components.authorization, which comes with the NuGet we have just installed before this step. Okay, here we need to import a class like get authenticate state async. This is the class which supplies the user authentication to entire application. So here in this method, what we have did, we have created some fake client. One claim is like username, my name, and another claim is it is role and it is user. Means for Navin, its role is user. And then we created client's principal and we pass it to the authenticate state object. So now we need to, so we are done with our fake authentication. This is enough. When the client principal with having some roles, it makes the entire application as authenticated. But there are few more steps to configure this authentication. Like we need to register them in the program.cs file. So let's register here. I need to my custom auth state provider. I have registered this and need to import namespace. And there are few more services need to register like build service dot add options and build service dot add authorization core. Okay, this will enable us the authorization for our application. So regarding the authentication state provider, steps are done. We need to do one more configuration like in app.route. We need to wrap entire our route with the pre-built cascade, cascading authentication state. Okay, so by wrapping this, our uh, uh, our entire application will have access for this authentication process. So to minimize this component naming convention, I will register this namespace into our global file like underscore import dot razor. So here at the rate using. So here we registered. I think we can get rid of the fully qualified name in our app.razor file. Let me remove it. Okay. Now we need to copy all these lines of code inside of this cascading authentication state component. Okay. Here one more thing we need to do is we need to change this route view to authorize route view so that it has the route has the capability to check the authorization attributes in our application. So that's all about the basic setup for authentication. I want to mention again to implement the real-time authentication with JWT token. I have placed some links below the video in the description how to implement the JWT authentication as well as the refresh token complete guide. You can check them in my blog. Okay. Now we need to do some authorization process. So for that, I'm going to use the existing page component like index.razor. So let me get rid of all this. Okay. Here I can use a inbuilt component like authorize view. Okay. It can contains two components like authorized component and not authorized component. Okay. These are the built-in child components for the authorized view. So here I am going to do like I want to show some basic authentication and so now we will check how this authorized view component will take care of our authorization. Now what happened is if our user is authenticated, then this component will be rendered. If user is not authenticated, then this component will be rendered. So let's test it by running our application. In it. Here we are getting not authenticated. We should get authenticated output. What is the issue? Authorized and not authorized. We are faking our user ID. Okay. The problem is I didn't specify the name for our authentication. Any name. Because of that, I think it's showing some weird behavior. Let me name it as fake auth and let me test again. So here we can see now output. So here we can see the output that authenticated username. See, means this is the basic kind of authorization at the level of components using the authorized view component. So now we can check role-based authorization on this authorized view component. Okay. So to apply role-based authorization on our authorized view component, it has the input parameter like roles. Here I can specify my which users that have this role can be accessed. Before that, I want to mention that roles are nothing but the user designation, like user is admin or user is client or user is super admin, something like that. That is his role on our website. Okay, so I want to render this block of code when the user is admin. So let me add it as admin. Now test our application. See, you are getting, you are not authenticated. I can change message like you are not authorized. Okay. Now we are getting you are not authorized. Why? Because the role for my authenticated user is only user, right? I don't have any other role. So it is showing me you are not authorized to access this page. If I have along with user, if I have user admin role, then it will work for me. So let's update our fake roles. Admin. So now I am having roles like user as well as admin, right? So let's test our application. See, hi Naveen. Means I am getting code rendered from this authorized block because I am having admin and user as well. So if you want, if you want this only for rendering users, you can do like this as well. Now our block of code is for to render only users. See, since I am having user role also, I am able to access this block of code. So for this roles property, we can pass n number of what I can say n number of roles with the help of comma separation like this. Admin, super admin, etc. So what it will check means at least the authenticated user should have at least one role specified here with comma separation. Means either user should have admin or super admin. If I test, I am getting the authorized code rendered because I am having one matched what I can say role, admin role. So I am able to access. If I remove this, see, I want to mention I don't have super admin, but I have admin. So at least one matched role, we can access that authorized code block. So if I comment this line, So I am not admin anymore. I am only having user role. Again, I am going to see you need authorization. So we can also have multiple roles initialized. You zoom in. We can also have multiple roles separated by comma separation onto the roles property. Okay. Now this is one method, and you can have multiple authorized view also in a page. So using this, what we can do, we can load some different components conditionally for the authenticated user, because something like hi Navin, this is super admin component. You can load component as well, child components based on our rules. Okay, but make sure to have define only single role in this case of multiple authorized view rendering, because if you do comma separation, what it will happen means, if user having multiple roles that matches both authorized views, then both components will get rendered. So if you are going for multiple authorized view type of rendering, then please use only single role for the checking the authorization, like this. This admin component. Okay, let me enable my admin role so that I can render at least one authorized view. Okay, let's copy this, let's save it and check in our application. See, here we are getting first one is not authorized, right? So we are getting, oops, you are not authorized. At that time, you can get rid of this code. See, based on your requirement, you can manipulate this, or you can make render this authorized view in a different way based on your business rules and applications. So you will get only one thing, the admin component, because I am not super admin, right? So I am not able to access this component. So that is how we are going to use the roles on the authorized view. So for the roles giving directly here, we can create a policy for the role. Roles policy is nothing but grouping a number of roles under one policy. It is called role policy. For that, we need to create a policy in our startup. Let's go to my program.cs file. In add authorization core extension method, you can create options like options dot add policy. Here I am going to name my policy name. Okay, I am going to name like my policy, my role policy. Here I am going to create policy options. Okay, in this policy dot we have require role. Okay, see here it is like a array of params type, string param type. So we can pass n number of our roles like user, admin, super admin. It is also work like when we use this policy on our authorized view, what it means, what it will check means, at least one of its grouped roles should be matched with the user role. Okay, so let's apply our policy to our authorized view. For this, we will have another proper input property like policy. Here I need to mention my policy name. What is my policy name? In program.cs file, right? My policy. I need to give this name here. Now save it. Not admin. Let's remove this line of code. Okay. Let's reload it. See, now I am able to access based on this policy because what are the roles contain this policy? User, admin, super admin. I am already having user and admin as well. What I mentioned, at least one role should be matched, right? So I am able to access this contents because of this policy. So let me change my policy roles so that we can get clear picture. I am changing this role to user 2 and admin 2. So no, not even a single role is matched with my user role. Now if I save this and check, I will see a blank page. See, blank page because we have removed not authorized content, right? So let me add it again. Oops. Now we will see this message at least. See, oops. That is because our policy is not satisfied, means user is not authorized to access this authorized block of code. So let me at least let me have user roles. Now I will get again my username, means my authorized code block. This is how policy based roles will work in Blazor WebAssembly application for the authorized view. And this is for component level, right? I have explained. Now we can restrict our entire page component using the authorized attribute. For that, what we have to do, let me remove this policy. Okay. And I can write like @attribute, and I need to specify the attribute like authorized. Inside of it, I need to pass. I can assign roles as well, like super admin. Now we are protecting this entire page component based on the uh, user roles. Means if only super admin user can be access this index.page. If other users try to access this page, see, this is the default method that is given by this authorized attribute, like you are not authorized. Okay. For suppose if I change it to user, I have user role, right? Now I can access that index page. See, my index page is now loading, content is loading. And we can have similar to the authorized view, in authorized attribute also we can separate them using separate roles using comma. So in this scenario, if you recall what I have said, at least one role should be matched with user authentication roles. So since I have user, right, I don't have super admin, but still I have user, so I can access this page. So let's me reload it. See, I am accessing this page. So this is how authorized attribute will protect our pages from the unauthorized users. And we can also have multiple authorized attributes. But in this case, if you are defining multiple authorized attribute explicitly means we are telling the page the user should contain both roles, not in like comma separated. In comma separated, at least user must have one role. But in the rendering of multiple authorized attributes, we should satisfy all the multiple authorized attribute roles. Okay. See, I am getting not authorized because I am not super admin, right? If I am change this to admin, then I able to access because I have both user and super admin as well. Now I will get page. See, I am get page because both authorized attributes has been verified to my user and they got permitted to access this page. Here also you can have multiple comma separated rows as well for multiple authorized attributes like super admin. Now also we can still able to access because in second authorized attribute I should match or I should have at least one of its role. If I reload, I will see the authorized content only because in this second authorized attribute I have admin. If I don't have admin, in that case we have already seen, right? It will throw like you are not authorized user. So let it reload. Not authorized. So this is how authorized attribute will work for us. And if you want, you can use instead of authorized roles, you can use policies as well. For that, you need to change like policy. And here we need to copy our policy name. Policy name. Roles. This is my roles policy name. Here also I am able to access my authorized content only. So let me reload. So up to now what we have understood, different ways of our roles technique to protect a page as well as the authorized component. I want to mention that when you use this authorized attribute, if you have some child component here, like my component, it won't authorize the child components. It is only for protecting the entire this index.razor page, index.razor component itself. It won't protect the what I say authentication inside of this component. In that case, we need to use this authorized view kind of authorization. Okay, this authorized attribute only works for the correct uh, the correct Blazor component where it has been initialized. Okay, that's all about the role-based authorization. And we have another authorization is like claims. Okay, claims based authorization. I want to mention what is claim. Claim is a key value pair. Okay, key value pair nothing but some kind of secured information about the user. Something like you go here. This is a claim. Username name is key and Naveen is value key value. This is a user claim. This is also a claim, but it is role type. It has specific designated roles. So what I want to say is for authentication user, roles as well added as a claim, but they can be authorized as a separate authorization like we discussed previously, like roles authorization. So anything, if you add my birthday, this is also a claim, August. Okay, this is key. My birthday is key and August month is my value. This is also claim. Based on using this key value pair also, we can authenticate the user. When these claims will be helpful for Like when we want to restrict them to modify our pages, like we can add a claim like modify. Modify is key and its value is true or false. True means he can modify, false means he cannot modify. Like that, using the claims as well, we can protect our pages by authorizing them. Authorizing the users. So I will create one. Let me remove these rows and I will add claim like page access key. Okay, one. I will create one more as well with the same key. So first let's do it like this. Page access key. Here I am having a claim like page access and value will be 1. So here I want to add my claims authorization to my authorized view. For implementing claims, it is not similar to like roles where we can directly write roles. For claims, it is mandatory to create a policy. Claims only go with the policy itself. So here I want to create a policy. So let me create a new policy. Let me copy paste it. Paste here. I am going to rename it as my claims policy. Okay. Here I need to change the method to use like require claim. So claim here we can specify the claim type. Claim type is nothing but our key. In the key, what it is the key. So let me write my key here. So in claims, two different ways we can do in claims. One is we can check only whether the claim is exist or not. Claim is exist or nothing but user has a key or not. Key for that claim. Another way is checking with the values as well. For that key, this value is matched or not. Means this user having this claim. So for this claim, this user having this key, whether this key is registered in our policy or not. Like that also we can check. So first I will only check for the key. Like what is my key? My key is page access key. So here in this my example, if the user is having page access key claim, he is able to access the page. Means I am not checking the values like whether he is having 1 or 2 or 3. Those page access values are I am not checking. I am checking only whether the user is having the page access key or not. Okay. So I have added right page access key and now I need to use this policy onto my authorized view. So here we can write policy like authorized view. Let me remove this roles policy and let's check now. It should reload. See, I am getting Naveen because I had this policy. What policy? This policy and this page access key. Let me change this claim to page access key to which I don't have. Now I will get you are not unauthorized. Authorized. Empty page because oops. Yes. Now I have unauthorized content. This one I have. That is because my policy having claims like page access to which I don't have. So let me change it back and test again. Now I am able to access the authorized key because I am changed the key role. So here we have protected our page using the authorization claims key. Now I want to check this against the values. Let me create 2, 3, 4, 5. So here I am checking what this policy will check. It will check whether the user has having page access key claim or not. Yes, if the user is accessed, then one step is done. Next, what it will do? It will check for the values. At least one value it should match. The page access key of the user must be 2 or 3 or 5. So let's reload our page. See, reload our page. We are getting whoops. Why? Because we have page access key, but the value is 1, which is not in the group of the policy. So I am not an authorized user to access the index page authorized view. So if I have another client with the same page access key with the matching value, here I am accessing 2. So 2 will be matched with my policy. Now I am able to access the page. See, we reload again. See, I am able to access the page. So this is how claims will work. At least one of the value of the claim should be matched with the user claim value. This is how we can use the claims based authorization on our authorized view. Same claims based authorization can be used with the authorized attribute. So let's remove it and let me add attribute and what I can say attribute like authorize and policy. Okay, policy. I'm going to paste my claims policy name, which is my claims policy. So since I have this claim and its value too, I can access the page. Okay. If I change this value to 0, I will restrict it from using this page. Now see the output. Not authenticated. This is written from this authorized attribute default method. Okay. So that's it about the authorization process we can implement in our Blazor WebAssembly, like using either roles or claims based authorization. Okay. So that's all about the authorization in WebAssembly. I think this video has delivered some useful information. If you like my video, please do subscribe to my channel. If you want any specific topic need to be explained, you can mention them in the comment section. Or I love to hear your feedback about my video. You can also mention them in the video so that I can improve my tutorials. And we will meet you again with new videos soon. Until then, signing off.